I did a DNA test with a different company because over time, the DNA tests have become more available, as well as the types of tests have improved, meaning that the sequencing machines can now actually test for many more different things, which has been so helpful for me in learning and understanding about inflammation in my body, detoxification in my body, as well as the nutritional deficiencies. So after doing my genetic test, I became aware of a few things that I needed to address. One of them was detoxification. There's a phase 1 and a phase 2 detoxification that happens in your body. And in my case, it turns out that both those phases are affected. What I need to do with that is limit my environmental exposure to lots of toxic things. So I'm trying to only drink from glass or aluminium. I'm trying to reduce all the environmental factors of toxins, including microplastics, including char-grilled foods, including toxic fumes from petrol and filling up and all that stuff. So I don't fill up anymore. I either get my husband to fill up or, get the fuel to come to the house, whichever situation works best. But I've decided to step away from as many things as I can to make sure my health is not affected as much. All I try and do is just manage what's within my control. That's a metaphor for life because that's not just with regards to what's in my environment, but mentally also trying to think of what is it that I can do about myself and about the thoughts I choose. But anyway, that's going down a rabbit hole too deep, too far. Another thing I talked about is inflammation. That is something that's been super interesting because I found a couple of research studies talking about that when you reduce the sugars in your diet, when you reduce processed foods, there is evidence that those things actually help reduce the symptoms of both ADHD and PMDD. So it turns out I need to supplement my body with inflammation. So what I do is I take an omega-3 fish oil with a 1200 milligram EPA and a 900 milligram DHA. So I take 3 capsules a day, and that has significantly helped my body. On top of that, one of the major things that came to the forefront was the MTHFR gene. And I think I briefly touched about that in the other episode. It's not the motherfucker gene, it's the methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase, I think it is. So methylation is something that happens in our body every day. It happens like hundreds of thousands of times a day in our body. And it's a process that basically says, okay, this needs to go there, that needs to go there. So basically when vitamin B comes into my body, it says do this. But in my case, that MTHFR gene is switched on in a slightly different way. So that actually means that my body cannot use a normal standard vitamin B. So even though I did supplement with a multivitamin previously, that vitamin B did not do nothing because my body could not absorb that version. So what I'm doing now, I'm taking a methylated version of vitamin B12. Methylcobalamin, also known as. So that's something you can look at doing as well. So I think it's Gary Brecker who said that there is 40% of people in the world that are affected by the MTHFR gene, the alterations or the defect, I should say. Even though I wasn't able to find that study, I do believe that from the clients that we worked with in our clinic, that at least 40% of people, so less than half, but a fair amount of people do have the MTHFR gene variation.